The courtroom was already standing when the prosecutor smiled. It was the kind of smile people wear when victory feels certain. Papers stacked neatly, tie straight, cameras waiting outside the doors. Across the room, Marcus Hale sat alone at the defense table, hands folded, eyes tired. He didn't look angry. He didn't even look afraid. He looked finished. The charges were brutal: embezzlement, fraud, corporate sabotage, millions missing from a charity meant for sick children. The media had buried him weeks ago. Employees testified against him. Financial records pointed straight at him. Even his closest partner said Marcus had access to every account. The jury barely looked his way anymore. And then the prosecutor stood. "Your Honor," he said smoothly, "the evidence speaks for itself." A pause. The defendant betrayed public trust. Heads nodded in the gallery. Marcus didn't react. The prosecutor turned toward the jury. This was greed, calculated, cold. Microphones picked up every word. Outside, reporters prepared headlines. Guilty. But Marcus finally lifted his eyes, not toward the jury, toward the judge, like he was waiting for something no one else could see. If stories about hidden truths and courtroom reversals pull you in, subscribe now to the Unheard Witness, because sometimes justice whispers before it shouts. The judge adjusted his glasses. Judge Eleanor Grant was known for speed, efficiency, clean rulings. She hated drama. She glanced through the final documents. The defense attorney barely argued, barely objected, almost like surrender. Why fight when you already lost? The prosecutor sensed it too. He relaxed. Victory already written. "Unless the court has further questions," he added confidently. Silence filled the courtroom. Pens stopped moving. The judge leaned back. Everyone expected sentencing preparations. Instead, she flipped one page again. Her brow tightened. "Mr. Whitaker," she said calmly. The prosecutor straightened. "Yes, Your Honor?" She tapped a document. "One question." He smiled politely. "Of course." She looked toward Marcus, then back at him. "Who authorized the secondary audit on March 19th? The room froze. It sounded small, irrelevant. But Whitaker hesitated. Just half a second. Enough. "It was routine," he answered. The judge didn't blink. "By whom?" He cleared his throat. "The Financial Oversight Committee." Marcus slowly sat forward. For the first time all day, he looked awake. The judge turned pages again. "I see no committee signature." Murmurs rippled through the gallery. Whitaker's smile thinned. "It may not have been properly scanned." She nodded slowly. Interesting." Then she added quietly, "Because the audit removed several transaction timestamps." Silence cracked open. Defense counsel blinked in confusion. Reporters leaned forward. Marcus exhaled, like air finally reached him. Whitaker recovered quickly. "Administrative error, Your Honor." But Judge Grant wasn't finished. "And yet," she continued, "those missing timestamps appear only on transfers attributed to the defendant." Now people whispered openly. Why only his? Whitaker forced confidence. "Coincidence?" The judge folded her hands. "I dislike coincidences." She turned toward the bailiff. "Bring the financial display back online." Gasps. The sentencing pause turned into something else entirely. The screen flickered alive. Rows of numbers filled the wall. The prosecutor's jaw tightened. The judge zoomed into a single transfer. $5 million. The one that destroyed Marcus Hale. "Explain this," she said. Whitaker launched into practiced explanation. Standard procedure. Access codes, authorization clearance, everything rehearsed. The jury nodded again. Order restored. Almost. Because Marcus suddenly stood. "Your Honor," he said quietly. Everyone turned. His lawyer grabbed his sleeve. "Sit down." Marcus ignored him. "I asked for this audit." Shock. The courtroom erupted. Whitaker laughed lightly. "That's absurd." Judge Grant raised a hand. "Mr. Hale, just sit." But Marcus kept speaking. "I reported discrepancies months ago." His voice shook. No one listened. Whitaker slammed a hand on the table. "This is theatrics." The judge stared at Marcus. "Do you have proof?" Marcus hesitated. Pain crossed his face. "No," he admitted. And hope collapsed again. Whitaker smiled. "There we are." The room relaxed. Until the judge spoke again. "One more question." Groans echoed. Even the clerk looked surprised. She addressed the prosecutor slowly. "Why was the audit filed under emergency authorization?" Whitaker blinked. "That is within prosecutorial discretion." "Yes," she said softly, "but emergency audits require independent verification." Her finger tapped the screen. "This verification belongs to someone not employed by the charity." The gallery leaned forward. "Who," she asked, "is Daniel Cross?" Whitaker froze. Only for a moment. But cameras caught it. "Near an external consultant?" "Licensed?" Pause. "Yes." The judge turned toward the clerk. "Search the registry." Typing filled the silence. Every keystroke sounded loud. The clerk swallowed. "Your Honor, no such license exists." The courtroom exploded. Whitaker stood abruptly. "This is irrelevant." Judge Grant's voice sharpened. "Sit down." He obeyed. Barely. Marcus stared at him. Recognition dawning. The judge continued calmly. "Mr. Whitaker, why would falsified credentials authorize the audit that removed timestamps connecting the real initiator of these transfers?" No one breathed. Whitaker opened his mouth. Nothing came out. And then a voice spoke from the gallery, "Because he needed them gone." Everyone turned. An older woman stood trembling near the back row. Security moved instantly. Judge Grant raised a hand. "Let her speak." The woman stepped forward, eyes red. "Yeah, I worked accounting," she said. Marcus stared at her. "Mrs. Lang?" She nodded. "I quit when they blamed you." Shock rippled. She pointed at the prosecutor. "He visited our office before investigators arrived." Whitaker stood again. "Objection. Denied," the judge snapped. Mrs. Lang continued. "He asked for access to archived servers." Gasps. "That's impossible," Whitaker argued. She shook her head. "I made a copy." A USB drive appeared in her shaking hand. The room erupted. Judge Grant motioned to the bailiff. "Bring it forward." Whitaker's confidence cracked, just slightly. Enough. The drive connected. Video appeared. Security footage. Late night. Office empty. Timestamp clear. The prosecutor himself entered the accounting room. No investigators. No warrant. He sat at a computer. Deleted files. Modified entries. Marcus whispered, "Oh my God." The jury leaned forward in disbelief. Whitaker staggered. "This is fabricated." Judge Grant didn't answer. She zoomed further. A reflection appeared on the monitor glass. Another figure behind him. Someone watching. The judge paused. "Who is that?" Silence. Mrs. Lang gasped. "That's Daniel Cross." Face visible now. Young. Nervous. The clerk typed again. Records appeared. Daniel Cross wasn't a consultant. He was Whitaker's former intern, dismissed 2 years earlier for misconduct. The courtroom lost control. Marcus sat down, slowly, hands shaking. The judge's voice cut through the chaos. "Mr. Whitaker," ice cold, "did you fabricate evidence to secure this prosecution?" He said nothing. Seconds stretched forever. Finally, "No." Weak, unconvincing. Judge Grant leaned forward. "Then explain why every alteration benefits only your theory of guilt." Silence. Sweat formed on his forehead. And then, the final twist. A deputy rushed inside. He whispered urgently to the bailiff. The bailiff approached the judge. A note exchanged. Her expression changed. Shock. Real shock. She stood. "Court will remain seated." Everyone froze. She looked directly at Whitaker. "Federal investigators have just confirmed an ongoing inquiry into prosecutorial misconduct tied to multiple cases." Gasps shattered the room. Marcus covered his face. Whitaker staggered backward. "No," Judge Grant's voice echoed. "This court orders immediate suspension of sentencing." She turned toward Marcus. Charges collapsing in real time. Freedom inches away, but she wasn't finished. "Mr. Hale," he stood slowly. "Yes, Your Honor." Her voice softened. "Why didn't you defend yourself?" The question stunned everyone. Marcus swallowed. "My daughter," he whispered. Confusion spread. Whitaker looked up sharply. Marcus continued. He threatened to reopen her accident case. The gallery murmured. "My wife died in that crash." His voice cracked. He said, "Investigators would accuse me of negligence if I fought." Silence fell heavy. Judge Grant stared at Whitaker. Disgust clear. "You leveraged grief." No denial came. Deputies stepped forward. Handcuffs clicked. The prosecutor who thought he won was led away. Marcus collapsed into his chair. Free, almost. Because the judge spoke one final time. "Mr. Hale," he looked up again. "This court owes you more than dismissal." She closed the file gently. "It owes you an apology." The gavel struck, and for the first time since the trial began, the loudest sound in the courtroom was relief.